It's Amy, your Gray Girlfriend, and welcome to the Gray Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. First, let me say that I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me. Out of the more than 3 million podcasts available, you chose this one, so thank you. This podcast was created for high-achieving women, real women who face and conquer real challenges, real women who are ready to take their lives to the next level. Between us all, we've been through it all, and I'm here to tell you, you can thrive despite it. So whether you're commuting to or from work or doing one of the other 50,000 things you do on a weekly basis, pop in your earbuds, my friend, and let's go. Welcome to the Gray Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. This is your host, Amy Blair Lawson. Today's episode is entitled Perfect. Perfectionism looks so polished from the outside, doesn't it? The immaculate standards, the color-coded calendar, the carefully curated image that rarely lets anything less than slip through the cracks. But under that glossy surface, there's often a quiet story running in the background, the story that says, if I'm not flawless, I'm not enough. Let's explore how unworthiness hides inside perfectionism and why seeing that connection is one of the most freeing shifts you can make in your life and in your work and in your relationships. There's often a secret contract behind high standards. Most women who identify as perfectionists don't wake up thinking, I feel unworthy. They wake up thinking, I need to do better. Perfectionism often begins as a survival strategy. Maybe you grew up where achievement was praised and mistakes were criticized. Maybe love felt just out of reach unless you were impressive or helpful or exceptionally well behaved. Over time, your nervous system learned a subconscious rule, and that rule goes like this. If I perform at a high level, I'm safe. If I make a mistake, I'm at risk of rejection or criticism or disappointment. So perfectionism becomes a kind of protective armor. It doesn't look like I'm unworthy. It looks like I can't afford to get this wrong. One sounds like a preference, but the other feels like a compulsion. There's a secret story behind perfectionism, and that story is this. If I'm perfect, I'll finally be enough. At the core of perfectionism, there's usually a quiet, powerful belief, and that belief is this. There is something fundamentally wrong with me, and I must compensate for it. So that's why you over-prepare for everything just in case, or rewrite emails 3 times before sending, or delay launching that offer because it's not quite right, or edit yourself in conversations to sound just right. On the surface, it looks like the pursuit of excellence, but underneath, it's a chase for worthiness. Perfectionism whispers lies such as, if I come in flawless, no one will see my flaws. Or, if I control everything, no one will judge me. Or, if I achieve enough, I won't feel like a disappointment. Notice how the standard keeps moving. You reach one goal and immediately raise the bar. When perfectionism is fueled by unworthiness, no achievement fully touches the deeper wound. External accomplishment can't heal an internal belief that says, I'm not good enough as I am. Perfectionism can be subtle, especially for high-functioning, high-achieving women who don't settle for the ordinary. It doesn't always sound like everything must be perfect. Sometimes it hides inside patterns that look responsible or productive or even admirable. In short, perfectionism has 3 faces. The first is, I'll fix myself first delay. You promise yourself you'll launch the program or raise your fees or share your story more boldly, but only after you lose the weight or get one more certificate or fine-tune your brand just a bit more. It sounds thoughtful and intentional, but often it's perfectionism masking the deeper message of, you are not ready as you are. You have to become better to deserve what you desire. Next is the over-deliverer. Your clients are thrilled. Your friends say you're so reliable. But what they don't see is the pressure you carry to go above and beyond every single time. You respond faster than needed. You add extras that weren't promised. You feel guilty resting unless you've done something impressive. Don't understand, generosity is beautiful. Over-delivering can be absolutely conscious and aligned. But when it's driven by fear of not being enough, it reinforces the story that your value comes from what you do, not who you are. And the third face is the inner critic disguised as standards. Your inner dialogue might sound like, that's not good enough yet, or you should have known better, or if you were truly capable, it would be easier. It feels like you're simply holding yourself to a high standard, but the subtext is harsh. The subtext, you as you are, don't measure up. Over time, those patterns crystallize into an identity. I'm the one who never drops the ball. I'm the one who gets it right. And that identity feels powerful, but it's also exhausting because it leaves no room for being human. Perfectionism feels safe, and here's why. From a nervous system perspective, perfectionism is about control. If you can control outcomes, you can control how people see you, and that feels safer than being seen in your vulnerability. The brain loves certainty, and it's wired to minimize risk. If past experiences taught you that criticism or rejection are painful or dangerous, your subconscious mind looks for ways to avoid them. Perfectionism becomes the favorite strategy because it looks productive while quietly keeping you constrained. So here's the paradox. The more you chase perfectionism, the less emotionally safe you feel. The more you demand flawlessness from yourself, the more fragile your sense of worth becomes. Perfectionism isn't sustainable and it isn't human. Every slip or misstep or not my best moment becomes evidence your inner critic uses against you. It says, see, you weren't enough after all. Perfectionism doesn't truly protect your worth. It keeps it under constant evaluation. So unworthiness slips into your work and presence. If you're building a presence or a business or a body of work, this dynamic often shapes how you show up. You second guess your voice, worrying if it's too much or not polished enough, or you try to sound like everyone you admire instead of sounding like yourself. Or you delay visibility, not wanting to be in photos or videos or interviews until you feel more polished or more prepared or more perfect. This is where unworthiness blends right into your brand. When you don't trust that you're worthy of being seen as you are, you will endlessly refine and edit yourself before you allow yourself to be visible. My friend, the people you're meant to serve aren't looking for flawless. They're looking for resonance and honesty and presence, that grounded energy of someone who can hold space for their own humanity and for theirs. If what I'm saying resonates with you, it's time to shift the story from prove to express. What do I mean by that? Untangling perfectionism doesn't mean abandoning excellence or letting everything slide. It means shifting what your standards are built on. A powerful reframe is moving from proving to expressing. Perfectionism says, I must prove my value through flawless performance. True worth says, I express my value through aligned, intentional action, and I allow myself to be human while I do it. So that might look like publishing the post when it feels true, even if one sentence could be smoother, or sending the proposal when it's clear without 10 extra bonuses to justify your fees, or showing up to a session or a meeting or even lunch with a colleague as your grounded self rather than over-preparing to compensate for imagined inadequacy. You aren't lowering your standards. You're relocating your worth from outcomes out there back to the truth of who you are in here. Here's a gentle practice for you. One simple way to begin relaxing perfectionism is to listen to your if I were enough thoughts. For example, if I were enough, I'd feel comfortable charging this rate. Or if I were enough, I'd post this without asking 5 people for feedback. Or if I were enough, I'd stop postponing this launch until everything feels flawless. And then ask yourself, what would I do differently if I trusted that I'm already enough, right here, right now, as I am? The answers might surprise you. They often feel like relief. So how can RTT help? Well, this is where deeper subconscious work becomes powerful. Perfectionism isn't just a mindset habit. It's usually rooted in old emotional imprints and stories formed long before you were consciously choosing your standards. Rapid transformational therapy, also known as RTT, works by going straight to the source, and that source is the subconscious beliefs that quietly drive the patterns you see on the surface. Instead of endlessly managing the behaviors such as overthinking or over-delivering or over-editing, RTT helps you uncover when and why your mind decided that you were only safe or lovable when you're perfect. And once those stories are seen and understood and updated, you're no longer trying to fix perfectionism from the outside. You're changing the identity underneath it. You can hold high standards without feeling like your entire worth depends on living up to them. If you recognize yourself in these patterns and you're ready to soften that inner demand for perfectionism without losing your discernment or presence or power, RTT can offer a direct, elegant way to create that shift. So if your perfectionism has started to feel less like a strength and more like a strain, it's time to give your nervous system and subconscious mind a different job description. My friend, you are allowed to be excellent without being exhausted. You're allowed to be intentional without being self-punishing. And you're allowed to be human and still deeply worthy. If you're ready to explore how RTT can help you release the old "I must be perfect to be enough" contract and step into a calmer, truer relationship with yourself, you're invited to take the next step. Reach out to schedule a private clarity call, and together we'll explore what's underneath your perfectionism and what you actually want your life and work to feel like, and how RTT can support you in creating that shift from the inside out. And with that, allow me to say this. May you remember with every breath that you were worthy long before you achieved anything or impressed anyone or got it right. Wishing you peace and plenty of all good things. Until next time, this is Amy, your gray girlfriend. Hey, it's Amy. Did you know that what we tell ourselves about ourselves impacts every decision we make? Every decision. So if you're feeling stuck in any aspect of your life, RTT can help. Want to know more? Go to amyblairlawson.com or click on the calendar link in the show notes to schedule your complimentary 30-minute consultation. Oh, one last thing. I can't forget the legal stuff. You know what I'm talking about. The language a lawyers write that I have to read to you. Well, here it goes. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. While I am a rapid transformational therapy practitioner, a certified divorce financial analyst, and a licensed investment advisor, this podcast is not intended as a substitute for a private session or a consultation. Got it? All right. Until next time, wishing you peace and plenty of all good things.